Good evening, everyone. A lot of thoughts always go through my mind, and just to show you how fast, just in the time to hit the record button and be prepared with welcome to our Unity of Livonia, A Course in Miracles study group, and to date stamp it with January 13th of 2026. But I guess what ran through my head was the simple, honest fact that I have not prepared one iota for our studies tonight. And I'm going to try and have some fun with that and say, I can just jump in like you do, especially if you didn't do any studying this week, and just be like you. And you seem to be okay with it. And I remember at the end of lesson 1, Jesus says, as we begin this journey through the workbook for students, a sense of leisure is essential. So I'm going to lay back and relax into things and rejoice that I didn't read stuff over like I usually do, and see how it turns out. Maybe I'll be still alive and I'll be relaxed and I didn't have to go studying anything. Or maybe this is all just a big cop out, but I think we'll be just fine tonight. We are
There
starting.
is a confession here around that. So my goal, I teach Course in Miracles 7 days a week on Zoom since COVID. Used to be in person,
Yes.
um, once a week. Um, my goal was, well, the way I prepare myself for the teaching is I read the lesson for the day the night before for myself, which I've always done it that way before I was a teacher of it. I've always done it the night before for myself, so I go to sleep with the next lesson on my mind. I get as much understanding as I can from it on my own. And my goal has literally been to be spontaneous. It's been my goal because I
Yeah.
always over prepared. I always like needed notes, needed an outline. And all my teachers were spontaneous. And I liked that in them. I was envious of that actually. I was like, I
So,
wish one day I could do that, be spontaneous. That was my goal, and that's the way I'm doing
well,
it.
how are
I
you
love
doing
it.
with it?
I
How
love it.
are you doing?
Say it again.
How are you doing with being
It's
spontaneous?
been it's been since COVID, so it's been since 2019. I'm loving it.
Yeah. And
Loving
so
it.
for
Much
me,
better.
I vacillated back and forth. I haven't read the course formally in, I don't know, 5 years now, but I would come to sessions and not have looked at the material, and things went well. And then I said, let me try the other side. Hey, if things went that well, then what would it be like if I were prepared? It'd be really nice, right? So I did that. I prepared and we had great sessions. And yet, the unprepared ones weren't bad either. It was not that one was better or worse, but they had a different quality to it for me. And so I'm perfectly fine. I didn't do anything before. let's go have some.
So I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm not saying
Right.
that at all.
No,
I'm
no,
just
I know
saying
you're
it
not.
was actually a goal of mine that I'm thrilled with to be
Yeah,
spontaneous in
yeah.
life, in my life in general.
And if you've done your homework and stuff, you know, do your homework and then be yourself.
Exactly.
That's, I found, the winning combination, whether in ministry or in the corporate world or whatever. Do your homework, be honest, but that's what will allow you to go have fun with it.
Yeah, to me, it was learning to rely on Holy Spirit. It was actually
Yes,
on
yes.
purpose. I want to be spontaneous. I don't want to do the planning. It'll come to me how I
No,
should start each meeting. It'll come
your
to me
mind
where
does
to
not
take the
plan.
group, where they're at. It'll come, and it does, and I love it. I
And
love
then
it.
you start trusting it, knowing you can call on it in all situations. And so you start trying it in all situations. And
Yeah, it was scary for me to do it that way. It truly was, but
well,
I'm
me
gonna.
too. And I think the fear part is part of the natural process of having the courage to try it and let go of the other way.
Which the other way is a judgment on myself. How are people going to evaluate me? What are they going to? It's the letting go of that whole thing.
Yeah, and seeing if just there's something invisible or whatever, no visible support, and yet it supports you better than all the visible so-called reports. We're wafting off here a little bit, but
Sorry.
I don't know. I think that no. I think everyone looks interested. So I don't know. We got these two course teachers, and they get into some inspired conversations, right, Miss Newman?
Love it.
My pleasure as well. We are tonight starting in the manual for teachers, and we are on page 40. So why don't you guys turn to that? And we've got Sherilyn White for reader 1, and Sue is 2, and Joan is 3, and Dee will be 4, and Hilda's not reading. And why don't we just go ahead and get started with that? Um, no preliminaries needed. Let's just jump off into the zone. Cheryl.
Okay. How should the teacher of God spend his day? To the advanced teacher of God, this question is meaningless. There is no program, for the lessons change each day. Yet the teacher of God is sure of but one thing: they do not change at random. Seeing this and understanding that it is true, he rests content. He will be told all that his role should be this day and every day. And those who share that role with him will find him so they can learn the lessons for the day together. Not one is absent whom he needs. Not one is sent without a learning goal already set, and one which can be learned that very day. For the advanced teacher of God, then, this question is superfluous. It has been asked and answered, and he keeps in constant contact with the answer. He is set and sees the road on which he walks stretch surely and smoothly before him.
But what about those who have not reached his certainty? They are not yet ready for such lack of structuring on their own part. What must they do to learn to give the day to God? There are some general rules which do apply, although each one must use them as best he can in his own way. Routines as such are dangerous because they easily become gods in their own right, threatening the very goals for which they were set up. Broadly speaking, then, it can be said that it is well to start the day right. It is always possible to begin again, should the day begin with error. Yet there are obvious advantages in terms of saving time.
So, what are your thoughts? You want to do paragraph edit? Let's go to paragraph 1. See what spoke to you. Oh,
Well, it's interesting. I've done a lot of presentations and workshops that I've put together, facilitated, or what have you. And I start with an outline. I have an outline, an idea of what I want to talk about, and then I let it go wherever it's going to go. And I find that that best works for me. I have a pretty good idea of what I want to share, and some things I definitely want to share, and those I have with me. But I get more from my audience than I do for myself.
okay.
And they lead the way, especially in a grief and loss group. I'm not there to talk. I am there to listen, observe, and yes, give some pearls of wisdom, so to speak, but it's their group, not mine.
Well, first of all, I'm in total agreement there. Let me ask a deeper question. You make an outline. You start by making an outline. What we're going to discuss is, where did the outline come from?
God.
Did it come from Sue?
No, it usually comes from God.
Well, okay, and you're seeing where I'm going.
Yeah.
But see, if you say, did it come from Sue? Then the next question is it the capital S self of Sue? Like we say that's the Holy Spirit? Or did it come from the small s Sue, that individual that Sue thinks she is? So you see, the outline, it makes perfect sense to start with an outline. But our discussion is going to be more about the mental states that produce the outline.
Well,
The part says a healed mind does not plan. It carries out the plans given it through a wisdom not its own. Now that's spooky stuff. Who is this wisdom not its own? Well, I think you've already named it, right, Sue?
Yes.
Your activities come from being inspired or in spirit. The rest of you following how I'm trying to connect this? Yes, use an outline. But who gives you your outline? That's
God gives me the outline, and God also changes the outline.
Okay.
And God talks to me even in the middle of doing a discussion. Hey, mention this, do that.
All right. And you defer to the voice. That's what we're all talking about. See, in paragraph 1, thanks, Sue. Were you finished? I didn't mean to.
Yes, I'm finished. Thank you.
In paragraph 1, look at sentence 3. Yet the teacher of God is sure of but one thing, that the lessons, is that what they is from reading before? There is no program for the lessons change each day. Yet the teacher of God is sure of but one thing, that the lessons do not change at random. What does that mean? Do not change at random. They're part of a matriculation. They're part of a plan. They're part of a, you know how you go to school and you don't just take any lessons. They're arranged in a certain order, an order that should be faster, better, easier, that have some quality to them, a cohesiveness to them. They're not just random events, things that change. The people you meet, the experiences you have. That's why I'm saying there are lessons. So when you see even the bad stuff as something, a lesson for your good, the bad stuff changes into not so bad stuff. It's like taking a test and getting an A instead of a C minus. You can pass with a C minus. You can pass with a C minus. But I used to teach class. And when I used to teach school, and one thing about grading papers, I always noticed when you had an A paper, not only was it an A paper, but it was easy to read, it was fun to read, and you were happy. When you had a C minus paper, not only was it a C minus paper, it took forever to grade. Just part of its ugliness from a teacher's point of view. The A paper was beautiful because, man, you just, do y'all see? The purpose of this manual is to help you get this. You got to do it. This is a required course. The only say you have is when you want to take it. The other thing you have to say about it is, are you going to drag through it and get a C? Or are you going to step up and recognize the inevitable and embrace it? If it's for my good, I should be smiling at everything. And then you'll start to see that the day does change, but there's some sort of connectedness to it, as if you were involved in a curriculum now, as if through your willingness, your willingness to will with God, you'll start seeing it accumulate. At first, you thought they were just random, and many you still don't understand. But a lot of them you've seen that they were to help you in matriculating your role as a teacher of God. The world is an illusion, but it has been transformed into a mighty help. through the meaninglessness of an illusion, this Holy Spirit can bring you home. He'll turn the illusion into your way home. He'll smooth the crooked roads. He'll remove the stones from the road as you matriculate this difficult course. He'll be like magic to you. Because to you, a power like this would be magic. That's a lot from one paragraph for me. That's a whole speech.
It's also teaching me, to me, I also get out of it to be open-minded, that if which is the 10 characteristics of God's teachers. And when I'm open-minded, I'm open to receive inspired ideas of my whole day, for my whole day,
Yeah.
giving a lecture, however, whatever I'm involved with in my day. Those thoughts come from God when I'm open-minded versus I have always had a control issue. So that's why this is so important. This is how we started off today's discussion of being spontaneous, which is open-minded, which is me not being in charge and wanting to be the one in control of everything.
And it's literally what Dee just said. It's given up all control and not wanting to be in charge. Be you in charge, Holy Spirit. I'm in charge of nothing. And that becomes a practice. A healed mind does not plan. It carries out the plans given it through a wisdom not its own. That's what we're trying. A Course in Miracles is a course in mind training or mind healing, you might say. Anyhow, how about paragraph 2? But what about those who have not yet reached this certainty? That's probably a lot of us here, right? And so what's Jesus suggesting there?
Well, in sentence 6, he says, broadly speaking, then it can be said that it is well to start the day right.
Yeah. And before that, in 3, it says, what must they do to learn to give the day to God? And that's the completeness that we were talking about. And Dee, you started at 6, right?
Yes.
Oh, it's kind of okay. Let's get started. Let's take step 1 and just give you some hints, you new teacher of God who has not yet reached the certainty that their day does not happen at random. Let's get started. If you want to make a process out of it, let's get started. And he talks about it makes sense to try and start the day right. You can correct, but it's a lot easier and a lot less suffering if we get it going routinely, off to a good start. Shall we, was there more there in 2, or shall we go on to 3?
How would you relate this to children?
In what way, dear?
Well, I'm one of those kids. I flunked 3 times in school. I didn't learn to comprehend reading till I was 45 years old. Um, and I can tell you all kinds of stories, and I'm into this, and I certainly am not stupid. But how do you relate this to children or children like myself who flunked 3 times in school and had a lot of difficulties in life? And yeah, I turned out to absolutely love life, which I do.
Well,
But I was just thinking as you were saying this, how do you help a child before they get in trouble and and have to redo their whole life, which I didn't, but a lot of people do.
I understand your question. It's a very logical question. What we're saying is, first of all, there might be a difference in how I would offer help to a child versus a 45-year-old that hadn't learned it, those things. How do I make that distinction? How I help? This is what we're going to discuss. How I help is not up to me. Do you see how at the core I'm getting with this? And do you see how much it differs from everyday logic? Of course you want to help children. Of course you want to help 45 years old that didn't learn things like that. That's not the issue. The issue is how. And that's what I don't control. I will be told how. And I do it. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I will give an example. I did a program many years ago to teenagers. It was an all-day workshop. We did all kinds of techniques. And we did one technique with artwork. And I talked to the kids. And one kid had written a poem. And the poem told me that something was terribly wrong. And ultimately, he got up and he shared things that were very serious. And we got him the help. Now, that came from God. He was ready to hear whatever I did, it resonated with him. Doesn't resonate with everybody, but it did with him. Whatever somebody did with me, which I know when it happened and how, it resonated. And I was an adult. And that's when I became involved in unity. And I had a good life, but I had a different life. And so that's where I learned. In the first Course in Miracles I went into was numerous years ago. And the people were also very good, like yourself. And it just made sense to me. It was like I lived this in another life. And it was coming back to me that it made sense. And that's the only way I could put any trust in the Course.
So, were you surprised that A Course in Miracles would become as valuable in your life as
Well,
it has?
it was really unity that became very valuable in my life. It was very familiar. The techniques were very familiar to me because there were things I did on my own. And at a point where God was talking to me, I didn't always know it was God talking to me.
Yeah.
But I would come up with these ideas, and then I started speaking the ideas, and it helped other people. The ideas were coming from unity, even if I didn't know it was unity. And then they were coming from the Course in Miracles, and then they were coming from the Kabbalah.
There have been messengers of this truth throughout millennia. It's not as though the truth hasn't been here. The problem is that it was not in the awareness of many, 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 many people. Through the reiteration of this message in an evolutionary sense, Jesus had a message of Yogananda, Martin Luther King. These are not at random.
Mhm.
They are an accumulation of glimpses of the truth that's true. In a world searching for what's true, lesson 358, no call to God can be unheard nor left unanswered. Really? What if the answer, he's been answering you, but you didn't recognize the answer? Who did you think Obama was? Who did you think, who's the South African black fellow was in prison? Nelson Mandela.
Nelson.
Who did you think Gandhi was? Who did you think the Beatles were? Who do you think Stevie Wonder is? They've been singing for millennia, but you didn't hear their message. You know how you got older and those songs you listened to when you're a teen, and then you discovered the deeper meanings in those songs? The call is going on everywhere. So when you let those who have eyes see and ears hear, when your eyes open, it's not necessarily chronological, is it? We have no idea what the plan is for us, because my eyes, I don't know, I look back on my life, I must have been sleepwalking.
Me too.
Me too.
All of us.
What was I thinking? And then all of a sudden, it's like you see things differently. This is not at random. What could you not accept if you but knew that everything that happens, all events, past, present, and to come, have been gently planned by one whose only purpose is your good? Perhaps you misunderstood his plan, for he would never bring pain to you. But your defenses did not let you see his loving blessing in every step you ever took. While you made plans for death, he led you to everlasting life. That's grace. That's unconditional love. Can you think of a better love than that?
So to me, that's where the answer lies. How do you teach children? You teach them that they're loved. The form doesn't matter. We're taught that if we excel in school, we're worthwhile. We
Yes.
need to teach them that they're loved no matter what.
See, if you would teach them that they're loved, they would excel of their own, of what they are. Anyhow, we digressed again, didn't we?
No, I think
No, not really.
the form doesn't matter. How do we teach children? The form will come to us. The content is the same. Love. You teach them love. You teach them that they are worthwhile and they don't have to earn it. They don't have to perform a certain way in school. They don't have to look the same.
That's, I'm sorry, my mind went to tomorrow night. My getting to be my favorite program is ACIM Music and Meditation. And tomorrow night's program is part 2 on the subject of the relationship between content and form.
Exactly.
And I think that if you can understand the relationship and the ability to manipulate forms, you'll start to be able to avoid and more easily forgive things. So,
Forgiveness to me is one of the most important things in life. And I use the example, if you'll excuse me for saying so, when my husband was so sick from negligence, the first thing he said to me, we're both Unity. I think everybody knows that here. He said, Susie, in order to live a good life, both of us have to forgive. And so we pulled out all the books and he watched his mind and his body disintegrate. And we did everything and went everywhere. And he went to Toastmasters and he was severely aphasic, could barely talk. But that didn't bother him. He was going. And so we did whatever he wanted, we did.
yeah.
And both of us took the Course in Miracles, and both of us are Unity. And I think when I look back with what you said today, and I'm not trying to hog the information, don't misunderstand me. I'm thinking this through as you're talking about it. Both of us, this was like, I have a saying, it was like brushing our teeth. Forgiveness was brushing our teeth. Gratitude was brushing our teeth. And we just knew we didn't know it had to be done. We knew to do it.
No. Yeah.
And it's because of people like you who are willing to come forth and share it.
Yeah, that here, you know that prayer in the Course, the one that says, I am here only to be truly helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I read it, and I'm venturing the first time you read it, you said, that's nice, but kind of hyperbole. Okay, I'll come back to that later. You didn't totally give in to that. I am here only to be truly helpful. I have no goals of my own. I'm not an individual. Every thought I have is a thought on behalf of the whole. I have not one thought for myself. If the whole prospers, myself will prosper as well. If the whole diminishes, myself will diminish as well. Yes or no?
Yes.
Does that make sense? My mission is to grow the whole. That's my destiny. What other purpose would I have? What? You thought they was fooling around, right? I am here only to be truly helpful. Do you see how different that is than everything we've been taught? we were poorly taught. You say, I don't like that message. Who doesn't want to be loved, part of a collective, part of a powerful synergistic effect, the glory of a big symphony? Who wouldn't like that? Well, I don't know. Well, all power and glory, huh? Anyhow, thank you, Sue. Thank you for your comments. And
Thank you.
yeah, we had a good pace. You ready to move on? Where we leave off? Heck, let's see. Are we up to Joe? Sue read, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Paragraph 3.
Thanks.
Yes.
At the beginning, it is wise to think in terms of time. This is by no means the ultimate criteria, but at the outset, it is probably the simplest to observe. The saving of time is an essential early emphasis, which, although it remains important throughout the learning process, becomes less and less emphasized. At the outset, we can safely say that time devoted to starting the day right does indeed save time. How much time should be so spent? This must depend on the teacher of God himself. He cannot claim that title until he has gone through the workbook, since we are learning within the framework of our course. After completion of the more structured practice periods which the workbook contains, individual need becomes the chief consideration.
Okay. Why don't we do a paragraph at a time? You're kind of long. A comments, paragraph 3. It makes sense to me. What? Any other comments? All right, Joan, why don't you do paragraph 4?
Okay. This course is always practical. It may be that the teacher of God is not in a situation that fosters quiet thought as he awakes. If this is so, let him but remember that he chooses to spend time with God as soon as possible, and let him do so. Duration is not the major concern. One can easily sit still an hour with closed eyes and accomplish nothing. One can as easily give God only an instant, and in that instant join with him completely. Perhaps the one generalization that can be made is this: as soon as possible after waking, take your quiet time, continuing a minute or two after you begin to find it difficult. You may find that the difficulty will diminish and drop away. If not, that is the time to stop.
Okay, comments here. Okay, do you see? This sounds procedural, right? So we're not dropping any major spiritual principles or anything like that. So you see, it's a little easier. It's a little lighter weight for our minds to follow, right? It coincides a lot with level 2 talk, doesn't it? Comments? Disagreement? Don't understand it? Let's talk about it. All right, then I guess we're up to D for number 5.
The same procedures should be followed at night. Perhaps your quiet time should be fairly early in the evening, if it is not feasible for you to take it just before going to sleep. It is not wise to lie down for it. It is better to sit up in whatever position you prefer. Having gone through the workbook, you must have come to some conclusions in this respect. If possible, however, just before going to sleep is a desirable time to devote to God. It sets your mind into a pattern of rest and orients you away from fear. If it is expedient to spend this time earlier, at least be sure that you do not forget a brief period, and not more than a moment will do, in which you close your eyes and think of God.
D, how about 6 also?
There is one thought in particular that should be remembered throughout the day. It is a thought of pure joy, a thought of peace, a thought of limitless release. Limitless because all things are freed within it. You think you made a place of safety for yourself. You think you made a power that can save you from all the fearful things you see in dreams. It is not so. Your safety lies not there. What you give up is merely the illusion of protecting illusions. And it is this that you fear, and only this. How foolish to be so afraid of nothing, nothing at all. Your defenses will not work, but you are not in danger. You have no need of them. Recognize this, and they will disappear. And only then will you accept your real protection.
Wow. Comments on 5 or 6? I'm just looking at 6. It asks some questions like, no, it makes some exclamatory statements. How foolish to be so afraid of nothing, nothing at all. He says your defenses will not work. Hey. But the good news is you are in no danger. Whew. Because you really messed with me when you said, no matter what I do, it's not going to work. It's because what I do is based on what I've been taught. Listen, how many PhDs do we have posthumously and contemporarily? Living and dead. How many PhDs? You think it'd be a better world, don't you? They were so smart, right?
Yeah.
Well, what's the result? How are things looking? It's not rocket science, is it?
Mm-hmm.
It's not working. It didn't work. It's not working now. It'll never work. That's a simple, practical recognition, isn't it? It's not on a whimsy. It's based on millions of years. No, man's here, I don't know, 3,000,000, 300,000,000, who's counting? But when you've had millions of years, what more signs do you need of whether something works or not? Joe, If you admit it doesn't work, are you powerless? No.
Oh,
I'm being offered something that's said to be guaranteed to work. Who are you going to choose and why? Well, it's the devil I know.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I'm going off again. Are there any comments from you? I'm not hearing too much. Yes.
It does relate in some ways. A person like Hitler, let's say, Hitler was a brilliant man. Crazy. He was sick, but he was brilliant. He had a brilliant plan. The people from Hamas who built the tunnels underneath the hospitals and underneath the civilians, that was brilliant for what they wanted. So I don't underestimate those people. They have a gift, but it's being used in the wrong direction.
Where did Hitler come from?
Where did Hitler come
Was it
from?
at random? Where did Hitler come from? Was it at random?
probably not.
Or did he come from for some purpose, or was it just at random? What was his cause?
What was his cause?
Well, these are the questions that we're talking about it at the level of cause. What I'm suggesting, as contrary to what people are taught, Hitler played a major role in the evolution for our good. Now, Hitler killed a lot of people, right?
Yes. Right.
He tortured a lot of people.
Yes, he tortured a lot of people. Totally understand compassion for that at a human level. What about seeing it from a spiritual point of view? It's hard if the people are illusions, if the whole damn thing is a illusion, who got hurt? Who got hurt?
The people that he,
They appeared to get hurt in a dream, in an illusion. All of these terrible things happen. Thank goodness it was only in a dream. Now we got that covered. Thank goodness nobody, okay, it was an appearance. The next issue is, what was the purpose of the appearance? Because things don't happen at random. So why did the illusion occur? That's the level we're talking about. That's where you'll find the tiny mad idea and the need for collective atonement and the transition from the unhappy dream to the happy dream. These are discussions beyond the illusion about the illusion. But we can have a whole lot of talk within the illusion too. That they're going on simultaneously. So when you're a teacher of God, you learn to easily move from level 1 to level 2, from level 2 to level 1, to a like-minded group where you can kind of be right between level 1 and level 2 because they're ready to hear it. But sometimes you go way into level 2 and all your level 1 ideas and that are looked at, they're not easily received. So you have to say, okay, with that, I'll do my part. And I don't know. It's not up to me. I go where I'm told. I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do because he who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever he wishes, knowing he goes there with me. I will be healed as I let him teach me to heal. If I want to be healed, I got to become a healer. I have to be of service. Make sense? Yeah. Real except for Sue. Somebody?
Was Sue gonna say something? I didn't catch that.
No, I do have a beautiful story I will share very briefly. One of the hostages spoke, and they put him in with a group, and unimaginable things happen, and I won't go into it. But he said to the group, I want everybody to think of one thing that they are grateful for today. People looked at him like he was insane. And eventually they thought of one thing, and then two things, and then five things. And that's how they survived. They really felt that change among just horrors, and they were made to watch other people being tortured. And then it was their turn. Just unimaginable things. But they found something to be grateful for. And I just wanted to share that because to me that was God speaking. That was just amazing. That they could even learn to believe in whatever it was that they said they were grateful for.
Yeah. People are capable. Listen, we are an incredible species because of our awareness of our connectedness to the divine. We are powerful beyond your wildest dreams. What could we do together? Look at what we do separately and in conflict and in war and bickering. Yet look what we create. With the right motivation, with the right power, what could we do together?
Those things.
Beyond your wildest dreams is what the human species is on the evolutionary spiral. We're close to divinity. So in face of possibilities like that, don't you see I have no idea where we are? Do you? That's just being honest, right?
Mhm.
Let's start there and see what happens. Maybe this intelligence will teach us. Speaking of that, we've got a few minutes. Forgive the detour. Let's move over to our lesson for this
You
evening.
know, the thing I didn't understand in that whole description, going back to the very beginning of paragraph 1, that nothing happens by random. It could be God is sure, but let me see. Yet the teacher of God is sure of but one thing: they do not change at random.
That's
It's
right.
not saying that this was orchestrated by God, the Holocaust. I mean, what does it mean? It's not random.
No,
Then
no,
I
no, no.
don't really get.
God doesn't need to work at that level. If you have an ego, if you're an individual, you're going to have fear.
Mm-hmm.
Are going to activate that fear with your God given power that has been misdirected.
Okay.
So that power miscreates. All the rest is coming from you, power through your ego. God doesn't know you're here. God knows you're not here. God doesn't dream. God doesn't believe in illusion. But he is aware of some strident communication between himself and his expressions. He knows that they're not fully connected for some reason. So God put a connection in every fragment of the mind that thought it was an individual to be the guide through the dream world. But God doesn't know we're here. God knows we're not here. Have we been abandoned? No, because we never left. However, God still gave us a guide to get home to the home we never left. It's called the Holy Spirit.
Thank you.
I know you didn't leave, but I'll bring you home anyway. That's loving, isn't it? What a gift is Holy Spirit. Let's read about that. That's where I was going. We don't have much time left, but I thought maybe we could at least do the special theme. It's on 437, called What is the Holy Spirit? So I think we're starting over our rotation with Sherilyn.
What page is it?
437 in the
Thank you.
Workbook for Students.
Thank you.
Workbook
37.
for students,
Yes.
437.
Theme 7. You with us, Sherilyn White?
Yep, I am. 437.
Yes.
What is the Holy Spirit? The Holy Spirit mediates between illusions and the truth. Since he must bridge the gap between reality and dreams, perception leads to knowledge through the grace that God has given him to be his gift to everyone who turns to him for truth. Across the bridge that he provides are dreams all carried to the truth to be dispelled before the light of knowledge. There are sights and sounds forever laid aside, and where they were perceived before, forgiveness has made possible perceptions tranquil end.
I don't know how to do this. Sue, would you do number 2?
The goal the Holy Spirit's teaching sets is just this end of dreams. For sights and sounds must be translated from the witnesses of fear to those of love. And when this is entirely accomplished, learning has achieved the only goal it has in truth. For learning, as the Holy Spirit guides it, is to the outcome. He perceives for it, becomes the means to go beyond itself, to be replaced by the eternal truth.
Okay, maybe we should stop. There's some meatiness to me, but let's do it in sequence. How about paragraph 1? The Holy Spirit is a mediator. Let's talk about it a minute, okay? And there was, in creation, there was God the Father and God the Son. Those were the two, maybe I'm oversimplifying, I don't know. There were two entities, but the tiny mad idea brought the need for a third entity, a symbolic entity, who would be a symbol of level 1 that would be put into every fragment of the mind that thought it had its own separate heaven. And that was the cause of the separation and the world where separation operates. The world. So if you look at page 103 in the text, I go over it many times. It says that God was aware. It said there was a strident voice arose that was the ego's voice. It could not shatter the peace of God, but it could shatter your peace. So God did not attempt to destroy it. God simply countered it. And the way God countered this strident voice, this ego's voice, was to give you an equal piece of himself to dwell in there. I have a split mind. Everybody here has a split mind. They might do good or evil. They might be their tendencies can go in more than one way. So there's a part of me, let's rename them. One is called an ego and one is called a Holy Spirit. God put them in every mind that was one, but thought it was separate. That was the fail-safe, to make sure I couldn't separate even in level 2. I can't shake it. There's always that little voice in me. That little voice, it speaks to me. It's quiet, but it speaks to me. Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
That's the voice. That's the voice. That was the lock that says you can't get away from love. I'm not gonna let you go. But Dad, we want to go to the faraway land and have some fun. Go, you'll see for yourself. But I keep my arms wrapped around you. I'm going to send an emissary. I'm going to send a symbol of home into this dark journey with you. And when you'll let it, and when you're ready to wake up, he'll show you how to get back home. Now, that's an analogy or a metaphor, an anecdotal type thing. How does it stand up for you? Is that what love would do?
Yeah, love never stops loving. So, yeah.
He didn't step on your stuff because you love what you made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, love understands love. You made this because you love the idea of having a separate heaven. But you cannot achieve synergistic effect in separation. You can't achieve that wow factor that happens when everything comes together, when all are singing the same song, when all turn into one glorious choir. You can go sing your little solos and stuff, but that'll never be like the sound of a big choir, a universe, you see. It's just not possible. The laws don't permit it. So if you're looking for all power and glory in the separate heaven, sorry, I told you so. What you want to see for yourself. I provided that. You ready to come home today, O children of God? I'll wait. Genesis page. I'm on a thing tonight. Did we do? Let's finish this up real quick. Sue, did you read? Yeah.
Okay.
Joan and then D, and we'll make everything complete and get out of here.
Are we at 3?
I think it's on 3, yes.
Okay. If you but knew how much your Father yearns to have you recognize your sinlessness, you would not let his voice appeal in vain, nor turn away from his replacement for the fearful images and dreams you made. The Holy Spirit understands the means you made by which you would attain what is forever unattainable. And if you offer them to him, he will employ the means you made for exile to restore your mind to where it truly is at home.
And D, how about 4?
From knowledge, where he has been placed by God, the Holy Spirit calls to you to let forgiveness rest upon your dreams and be restored to sanity and peace of mind. Without forgiveness will your dreams remain to terrify you, and the memory of all your Father's love will not return to signify the end of dreams has come.
Accept your Father's gift. It is a call from love to love, that it be but itself. The Holy Spirit is his gift by which the quietness of heaven is restored to God's beloved Son. Would you refuse to take the function of completing God when all he wills is that you be complete. So that's the special theme, and we were into the lessons behind that theme. But I wanted to just jump on over here to talk about the Holy Spirit and help you understand. I don't know if any of this is true. I just don't. However, if you are willing to follow and entertain this thought system, you'll see that in itself, it holds together very well. As much as it contradicts the thought system you were taught. It's entirely possible that this system is absolutely true, and it's so purely true, it renders the other one completely false. If that's possible, we're in the realm of choice for our lives, aren't we? I never knew there was more than one thought system. Did you? I never even thought about it. But that's what we're willing so far to see if it makes sense for us. And I wouldn't keep coming back or doing stuff that didn't make sense to me. So as crazy as it sounds, at some level, this might make sense. And I'd enjoy learning about it because it's got the happiest ending you could ever imagine. Thank you for coming out and being with us tonight. I hope that going to the zone has given us some respite and something joyous to look for and a counterpart to some of the tragedies we seem to see every day with our body's eyes. And I don't know about you, but thank goodness for this Christ vision. I keep trying it and I keep liking it. So I hope you like it too. Final questions, comments, or anything before we go?
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Can I just make a comment about, I don't know whether you have heard, there's a group of 20 monks from India
Yes.
going from Texas to the
Yes.
capital.
Yes.
And they have some very interesting information on YouTube. So if you're interested in following that, right now they're on day 79.
What
And
are they? What do you know what state they're in?
I think they're in South Carolina right now.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I
So
watched some of it. I'll have to take a look. Thank you, Hilda.
it's very encouraging, and the people who are standing by the roadside observing and watching them are really, and it's really inspiring to think that there are people out there, who take an active stand.
And there are a lot of people that are like that. It's just that it's not mainstream to where they're comfortable with coming. There's so many like-minded people like us. And I think they enjoy, the Zoom meetings and different programs I do that he does. It's a real inspiration for people. So yeah, I'll be on the lookout for their progress and their message, Hilda, and I hope the rest of you will too, as far as the monks. Now, the monks is there monastery or ashram, which is it in Georgia? They're not, they're from the US.
right. It seems to me that they're in Texas, as a
Okay.
matter. And I just sort of got into it just a couple of weeks ago,
Okay. Well,
and I didn't know about it. So
yes. Thank you, dear. You ready to close us out?
I am.
All right.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us wherever we are. God is. I am the light of God.
I am the
I
light.
am the light of
God.
God.
I am the love of God.
I am.
I am
the love
the
of
love
God.
of God.
I am the power of God.
I
I am the power
God.
of God.
I am the presence of God.
I am
I
the
am the presence of God.
Therefore,
there
Therefore,
wherever I am,
where
wherever I am,
God is,
God
God is,
and all is well.
and
and
all
all is well.
There is nothing to fear.
there is
There is nothing to fear.
There is only love.
There is
There
only
is
love.
only love.
Namaste.
none.
Namaste.
Thank you for coming out, my friends. Okay. Keep the
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What
Thank you.
new adventures await. And I'll see you next time. I'm going to
Okay.
support and hang around and speak with you. I'm going to stop recording.